Okay, everybody, we're now quorate, so good to go. Can I just ask members at the beginning to or ask if you have any issues with Starleaf?
Nope, all good, Fob.
Okay, so just as a reminder, while in the meeting, can members mute their microphones until they need to speak, as the background noise conversations will be heard. Should any member wish to ask a question, just do as we always do, stick it onto the WhatsApp facility. So just members, the committee is being recorded and will be broadcast throughout Parliament buildings and online. And you're obviously welcome to use mobile devices as long as they're in airplane mode and all devices are muted. So we're here to go through consideration of the draft report for climate change #1 bill. So we're just going to commence consideration of the draft report on the climate bill. Members should be referred to the draft bill at page 217 of your meeting packs. And if members are content, I will proceed through the draft report, seeking the committee's consent or comments after each section. And we're going to begin at section 2, as section 1 merely provides details of committee membership and the powers of the committee as set out in the Good Friday Agreement. Section 2 of the bill can be found at page 221 of the pack. It is an executive summary of the committee stage of the bill and provides a general overview of the committee considerations. So, members, can I just ask that if we're content with section 2, which is paragraphs 5 to 12 of the draft report? Okay, we're content. So section 3 of the bill can be found at page 224 of the pack. It is an introduction and provides an overview of the report. So again, members, can I just ask if you're all content with section 3, which is paragraphs 13 and 14 of the draft report? All good. Okay, section 4 of the bill can be found at page 225 of the pack. It provides background information of what climate change is and its impacts locally, nationally, and globally. It also describes the Paris Agreement, the aims of COP26 conference, and various legislative provisions to mitigate climate change here on these islands. So, members, are we content with section 4, which is paragraphs 15 to 48 of the draft report? Okay, we're content. Section 5 can be found at page 237 of the pack. It is a summary of the UK's Committee on Climate Change Progress Report made in June 2021 and the actions needed to meet the net zero pledge. So, members, can I again ask if you're content with section 5, paragraphs 49 to 54 of the draft report? Okay, we're just moving on. I mean, all of this is kind of background information. So, section 6 on page 239 of the draft pack provides information on the profile of greenhouse gas emissions locally between 1900 and 2017, as well as a sectoral breakdown of emissions in 2018. So I'm just going to ask members if you're content with section 6, paragraphs 55 to 57 of the draft report. Section 7 summarises the CCC's advice outlined in its 6th carbon budget for the North and can be found at page 241 of the draft report. So members, I'm just going to ask if you're content with section 7, which is paragraphs 58 to 60 of the draft report. Okay, everybody's content. Moving on to section 8, and that can be found at page 243 of the pack. It is a breakdown of the bill as drafted. So members, if you're content with section 8, which is paragraph 61, 62, and the table of the draft report. Okay, thank you. So that, I mean, all of the first 8 sections have been merely background information. So section 9 then sets out the committee's or considerations of the bill, and it starts on page 246 of the pack. It includes a bill timeline, which is paragraphs 63 to 76. It also includes briefings that we heard from RAISE, summary of the key messages from our call from evidence. It also includes summaries of our oral evidence sessions with different stakeholder groups, including the bill sponsor team, climate experts and academics, and the environmental sector, agri-food sector, government departments and arm's length bodies, and then other sectors. So the committee also then had informal deliberation discussions, and they're described from paragraph 190 onwards, and that's page 272 of the pack. And and that was on the climate emergency, on climate action plans, on the climate office and commissioner, the climate objective and net zero targets, supplementary aspects of the bill, other issues, report from the examiner of statutory rules, and also financial implications. So members, I'm just going to ask if we are content with section 9, which is paragraphs 63 to 269 of the draft report.
Chair, excuse me.
Come on ahead, Nick.
Chair, thank you. Just the note for members with regards specifically paragraphs 219 to 221 on page 278 of the draft report. That references the work that we recently undertook to seek advice from legal services on the powers of the commissioner, and it's just to advise the committee that this afternoon legal services have advised just a slight amendment to those 3 paragraphs, which doesn't substantively change them, but if the committee is agreeable, I would propose to swap those 3 paragraphs for those advised by legal services, if yourself and members are willing, Chair.
Yep, I'm happy with that. Everybody else content? Okay, thank you. That's agreed. So then, moving on to section 10, and that's at page 289 of the pack, and it details the committee's clause-by-clause scrutiny of the bill, which we will be fresh in our memory because we did it this morning. So if members are content with section 10, which is paragraph 270 and table of the draft report. I mean, I note Nick sent out amended email with papers given or some of the discussion that we had this morning, so members will have received that email.
Yeah.
So, Chair, sorry, go ahead.
So I'm going to ask, I'm going to maybe, Claire, have you a question?
Yeah, sorry, I'm running a wee bit behind you. Sorry, I want to go back to the paragraph 230 if possible, and that talks about the bill team putting forward a suggested amendment about reaching net negative economy. And is it worth maybe noting in there that that was removed, that didn't go ahead? Is that possible? That amendment, so it's in paragraph 230, if anybody wants to read it there. We'll see, it was proposed that this report would be made, sorry, just reading it all there. I just think it's worth noting that that amendment was not made and was removed. It was a discussion that we had, certainly, but didn't go any further.
That's correct. No, that's exactly right, Claire. So, I mean, I would second that proposal that be added into.
Yeah, because we did write to the committee and inform of that as well.
Yep, you did.
Thank you.
Is everybody else happy that the point that Claire has raised be inserted into the report?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm giving members just a wee bit of time here in relation to this, because it is fresh in our minds, and we did do it this morning. Nick sent out the email, so I'm hoping everybody had an opportunity to read through that prior to this. So if people are happy, I'm going to ask then that members are content with section 10, which is paragraphs 270 and table of the draft report. Okay, no dissension. So moving on to section 11 of the bill. Section 11 of the bill, and that can be found page 296 of the draft report. And it presents recommendations made by the committee following its scrutiny. So that's 271, paragraph 271. So can I just ask members if you're content with paragraph 271 of the draft report? Okay, and maybe if I can just ask Nick, because there obviously was as an amendment proposed by Legal Services, and then there's a slight amendment proposed and accepted by Claire. So do we have to wait then on those to come back before progressing?
Sure, could I suggest another one?
Go ahead, Claire, yes.
I'm just looking at the recommendations, and I know that stakeholder feedback, and the committee did adopt it as well, was for gender proofing of all policies at the executive. And I'm wondering if that could be added in as a recommendation.
Sorry, Claire, can you repeat that just?
Yep. So on the recommendations, 271,
Yes.
I'm wondering if we could add a further recommendation that was given during the stakeholder feedback and evidence sessions for the executive to gender proof all policies. And could we add that as it was taken up by the committee and added into the bill? I'm wondering if we could just sort of maybe put that in as a recommendation for the policy level.
Yeah. Yep. I'm happy with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Nick, I just want to take advice, because that's three. No, they're all small amendments, but on the basis of that, do we wait on the inclusion of those before formally agreeing with the report?
Chair, what I might suggest is, given that that's a relatively small number of proposed areas of amendment, is if the committee was agreeable, I would update the document and perhaps separately via email circulate it to members, highlighting the changes in an email, and give members a few days to come back if there's any queries or issues on those before we would actually publish the report. Perhaps that's if members were willing to do that rather than reschedule another session to go through that. But happy to facilitate either way.
I mean, I say that those. I mean, there was no other issues raised. Those were fairly minor. There's no dissension to the inclusion of those. So unless they're totally worded wrong by you, Nick, then I mean, I'm happy enough to accept that as a proposal if people are happy enough to agree to it. That Nick will circulate those three amendments in the body of the text and highlight it for our use. And if there's no issue after a couple of days, then the report can be published.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, just on the basis of that, just for my own purposes, I'm going to say, no, members, the committee has agreed all sections of the draft report. I'm going to put the question that the Committee of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs agrees to the draft report on the Climate Change #1 bill and is content for it to be published. Okay, so members, at page 300 of your pack is a draft summary report of the bill. It is intended as a snapshot of the main report and will provide a breakdown of the salient points of the committee's considerations. So can I ask members for your thoughts on this and ask that we publish the summary report as well? So I mean, personally, I'd look at it very good. Sorry, Claire.
Can I just I just wanted to thank Nick for doing such a good summary and a good piece on the report as well. I'm more than happy with it as it is. There was somebody to go out. Thank you.
Likewise, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And just on behalf of myself and all the committee members, maybe I could thank Nick and his team for the work in producing the report. This has been a very busy time for us all, but it's very important work. And you know, we have took this job very seriously in terms of scrutiny of this bill, but we couldn't have done it without the assistance of Nick and the committee staff and others, including Barbara and legal services within the Assembly makeup. So I want to put that on record as well.
Thank you, Chair. That's very kind. Thank you.
Agreed, Chair.
Okay, members, that was straightforward today. So I just want to thank all of you for coming on to this meeting and for the time and effort in progressing this bill, and look forward to the debates that we will no doubt have on it in the Assembly. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, committee. Cheers.
Thanks,
See you
folks. All the
later.
best.
Bye.
Commissioner.